All right, man. The Thunder win game one. I didn't do a series preview, but I said I was leaning Thunder at the end of the last one, so I guess that's my pick. Not that that one's a surprise. Also, in the last video, yeah, Caruso got away with some stuff on Jokic. Still a great defensive performance, but also, after seeing some of it again, I was like, ooh, I kind of missed the mark on not really mentioning that. Okay, on to this game, where I do think ref talk will also be a bit of a thing. But before that, I do think the story of this game is pretty much the Wolves' three-point shooting. And hopefully Ant's ankle is good. I know he came back, but you know what I mean. 15 for 50 as I'm doing this. There's like a minute and a half left. And yeah, it was a whole lot of missed threes by Dante, Nas, and Nikhil. A lot of similar plays of a lot of attention by OKC put on especially Ant or Randall, and then relatively contested corner threes, top of the key threes, whatever, that just did not drop tonight. So I'm remembering like Ant and Gobert run a pick and roll. Caruso is helping way off of Nikhil in the corner. Ant kicks it to him. Caruso does close out. Kaysen also closes out, so it wasn't as if Nikhil just had all day to set his feet and everything. But even so, an open three. Caruso is picking up Randall full court, pressuring him, doing what you would expect. They then bring a double. It goes to Dante. I would say a relatively open three, one that he's certainly confident in, doesn't go in. A play where Kenny Hustle minutes in the Western Conference Finals, how about it? Pressuring Randall at the free throw line. They don't really do anything on this particular play, which can also sometimes be a problem with the Wolves offense. And then eventually it becomes like a kind of contested Nas three. Like a lot of the Wolves threes tonight, it feels like OKC did everything they wanted to do. They got the ball out of the initial driver or pick and roll action or whatever. But the Wolves will say, hey, it's still like an okay three for a good shooter. They're still going to take a lot this series. And I think what is just as important as the 15 for 50 is only 13 shot attempts for Ant. Now, 7 free throws, okay. Ant was not having free reign to just do whatever he wanted out there. Although him almost dunking on Dort was crazy, and, Randall, especially in the first half, to some of his tough shots. I will say, like, looking for things for the Wolves offense besides more of these threes have to go in, it's like, I remember throughout stretches of the game, little like Dante Gobert empty side pick and rolls, they get something good out of it. Or very early in the game, when it was Chet on Jaden, they would have Jaden actually be like the DHO guy, like receiving the thing in the screen, because it makes Chet have to fight around the screen as opposed to being more of the typical big guy dropping back on a screen. Jaden was able to get some good looks out of that. It's not something you're going to run your offense through, but it's an idea. But the other thing too is, with how tough it is to get inside on this OKC defense, I do fear, I don't think it's certain after one game, but I do fear they could be between a rock and a hard place, the Wolves, where it's like, when Nas isn't in the game, there just might not be enough spacing, but if Gobert's not in the game, they might not have enough defense. But whatever, that's like living in the moment of the loss. This is something they've dealt with all season. I think Chris Finch has mostly pressed those buttons well with when to have either one of those guys in the game. And if the threes go in, then okay, a lot of this stuff just doesn't matter as much, right? As far as OKC and their very physical defense and the whole thing, yeah, look, man, they get away with stuff, okay? And they know they're going to. I mean, they were among the league leaders in fouls per game this season. They get a lot of deflections, they get a lot of steals, and they can't call everything. And I understand the frustrations because on the other end, and we can go to SGA now, some of the fouls that SGA gets just feel like not that much. A little touch, him initiating the contact, him kind of flailing. No, he's not the only one who does it. He's still a great player. He still does a lot of crazy things out there that very few guys can do. But it does feel like that's probably going to be the leading convo about this game, concerning SGA. Yes, the teams both had 22 fouls committed in this game, and I'm sure if you're a Thunder fan, you can go through every single moment of this game and find calls or non-calls in your favor for this conversation. You can always do this stuff. And I did think while he was able to get free for like some going at Randall on switches or whatever, there was definitely a stretch of this game where it felt like the Wolves were really bothering him. There was a stretch there where they were able to keep the fouls down with him, and Jaden holding up really well for a couple of plays, sticking with him as SGA just tries to make a shot over him in the paint for nothing, or Gobert, just his presence kind of messing up SGA's timing on a lob attempt to Chet. And I would have to go back and look to just see how aggressively the Wolves were playing off of shooters, but I mean, 21 three-point attempts from OKC would suggest they were not trying to give up as many threes. Some of that also being like, eventually J-Dub and SGA I thought got better like in the third quarter of just having hard drives and making something at the free throw line. Like J-Dub made like a tough fadeaway on Nikhil in there. He had like a very patient drive going at Randall where like he was like going very fast, slow down, hesitate for a second, and then get into the next thing around the free throw line, whatever. But to get back to the aggressiveness, I mean, besides like that one Gobert switch onto SGA that was really, really good to contest him, it felt like for the most part, they weren't trying to put themselves in heavy rotation, although later on in the game, it was like Naz Reid's high up on an SGA screen and then Chet's getting open backdoor. That's the stuff that when Gobert is not in the game is just probably going to happen more often. But again, if Naz makes his threes tonight along with Dante and Nikhil, then okay. Besides that, I felt like iHeart made like all of his floaters, including one, it has to be like among his deepest floaters ever, with Gobert right on him. And then besides that, OKC, they did shoot really well from three. I will say, if the Wolves can normalize their three-point attempts around like 40 a game, which is a pretty normal number, and if OKC does not match them, then it's really going to come down to the turnovers for the math, unless the Wolves continue to shoot really poorly. So yeah, basically the story of this one, Wolves, they got to find either more specific sets that can get Ant and Randall downhill. It's tough to do against this OKC team. This is just how they are. But if you can find it, then great. I mean, Ant did have like some pull-up threes with Chet or iHeart dropping back on screens. He'll take more of those this series. We all know that. And then, even if that's completely opposite of the drives, but whatever, my brain's going all over the place. And then they need the threes to go in. And I also think in an ideal world, they wouldn't be taking 51. Like 42 is probably a fine number. A little more, a little less, and that's fine as well. And then, of course, there's the turnovers. They had 17 tonight. We all know the Wolves can be susceptible to turnovers. We all know the Thunder get a lot of steals, a lot of deflections, blocks, etc. So yeah, I guess where I'm at again is like, I do wonder if they can find more of that like empty side pick and roll stuff, because it felt like there was some life in some of those plays, but also with the way the threes didn't go in tonight anyway. I feel like if I keep talking, I'm just going to keep saying the same stuff.